1001 Nights is an anime inspired by a massive collection of ancient Middle Eastern tales by the same name. Instead of targeting Japanese children, Osamu Tezuka and Osamu Dezaki got together and produced a movie for adults worldwide. While its frequent nudity distinguishes it from all anime of its time, its mature themes make it worth watching today because it's surely not for the pre-bounce era boobs. I think 1001 Nights clearly depicts the line between mature content and mature themes while containing both, rather than just being about the abstract sex stuff like slapping a pair of rock-hard tits on a snake and calling it a day. It illustrates the pitfalls of human nature through our weakness to desire, such as lust, greed, drug abuse, and revenge. I appreciated how Alauddin was introduced as an ordinary person with a somewhat complex morality. He's hard-working but clever enough to get his way more often than he should. However, this cleverness gets him into never-ending trouble as he undergoes a series of trials testing the strengths of his morals and fails every time. It shows that anyone can fall prey to these weaknesses, as he's once the type of man who'd risk his life and endure torture for love. However, hard times weakened his resolve, which led him to pervert every opportunity to suit his selfish desires, creating a downward spiral to utter depravity. For example, you're all familiar with Disney's Aladdin and the genie granting him 3 wishes. 1001 Nights features a magic ship that gives him unlimited wishes. However, instead of using these wishes to improve the world or even the quality of his life, he decides to amass treasure. Sure, treasure is worth money, and money can improve the quality of your life, but he aims to use these riches to buy women. While 1001 Nights isn't alone in providing a solid moral message, it is one of the few 60s anime depicting the darker side of its protagonist. I won't go deep into its plot because it's filled with twists and turns as Alauddin goes from one hardship to another, but I will say don't take everything at face value. Some are turned off by all of its weird sex stuff and asinine plot developments. For example, there's a life-or-death competition between 2 characters who compare their wealth. Again, it makes no sense at face value. However, I'd say the scene is symbolic of people's endless struggle to obtain wealth as a status symbol instead of simply providing comfort and security. In fact, this sort of content is prevalent in Tezuka's other works, such as his series of experimental and avant-garde short stories called Osamu Tezuka's Works Experimental Films. They're kinda hard to find, but I think they're worth checking out if you'd like to see Tezuka's unrestricted creativity. In terms of its creativity, 1001 Nights stands out from its peers for its mixed media aesthetic, creatively using whirlpools as sandstorms, combining numerous landscapes to create a fantasy environment, and using scaled-down city models. I know 60s movies may not be everyone's preference, but I enjoyed it despite not being that big of a Tezuka fan. At least, I haven't seen or read enough to be won over yet. There's still time. I give 1001 Nights a 7.5 out of 10. It's worth watching, but I think those who will enjoy it most are Tezuka fans and those generally interested in vintage anime. If you decide to check it out, come back and share your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon with another anime review.